Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar, Hot to Trot for a Bot, focused on the Microsoft Teams bots. There's a lot of material to cover here in this hour, so we're going to get going on it right away. I hope everyone's doing well and safe in their home offices or solo offices, and that we're glad that we're able to offer this webinar for you guys to participate in and learn some more about Microsoft Teams and how to use bots in Microsoft Teams. So I am Scott Restivo, President and CEO of Crocated Software. We are a preferred Microsoft partner. We're also a California certified small business. We have been making applications inside of, creating applications inside of the Microsoft platforms with SharePoint and Office 365, Teams for over 20 years. I mean, of course, SharePoint and Office 365 ever since it came out, so that's been about 5 or 10 years now. We also have Nitro Studio, which is our application creation platform. We do custom solutions for people, and we have AI and bot services available. Now, our business applications in Nitro Studio both work on SharePoint on-premises, whether 2013, 2016, or 2019, and in Office 365. Now, this webinar is about Microsoft Teams bots. So obviously, Microsoft Teams is an Office 365 component, and therefore it's focused on the Office 365, or what they're going to call Microsoft 365 soon, side of our offerings here. So first thing I want to say is that we'll have some questions. If you have questions, there's a question box inside of your webinar screen, and you'll be able to put questions there, and we're going to have people try and answer them during the webinar. A lot of times the questions come fast and furious, so we might not get to all of them, and then we'll have some information after. We'll have recording available, and we'll answer the questions in a blog article or in a follow-up email as best we can, okay? So we'll get going right away. There's a lot to cover here. This webinar is focused on Microsoft Teams bots. Now, we're going to have a brief discussion of bots, then we'll go into two demos. There's a Q&A maker bot demo, and then there's IT support bot demo. The IT support bot demo, Manish Jain from our dev team will come in and give that one after I get through, I do the first two ones. Again, I'm Scott Restivo, President and CEO of Crocated Software, and glad to have you on board with us today. So in the wide world of bots, there's many factors to consider, many elements to bot design, bot development, bot implementation. And in this webinar, we'll only be able to cover a small amount of that because our focus is on Microsoft Teams bots. There's much more to the bot world than Teams, of course, but that's what we're focused on here because we develop applications and create custom solutions in the Microsoft Office 365 and SharePoint world, and Teams is part of that world and becoming a much more prominent factor in those worlds also. So many other elements to bots. We might cover those in later webinars or blog articles and have discussions, one-on-one discussions with people about those things. So let's get started. Let's go into it. So the first question that comes up is, what are bots? Well, I put this picture here because bots are not what you see here when we're talking about bots in Microsoft Teams, of course. Bots, in the science fiction world, we think of these robots that are highly intelligent and have capabilities almost human-like to save you from the planet Tatooine or something like that, rescue you from the planet Tatooine or whatever. That's not what these bots are. They're not a robot. It's not a system like this at all. What we're talking about is bots as a conversational interface. So this is much more mundane than maybe those robots, the shiny C3PO or R2-D2, kind of bot. We're talking basically about conversational interfaces to applications or to cloud-based services. It looks a lot more mundane, not as exciting as a robot that's going on and on like that, but the word bot is used in both cases, and I would just want to bring it into the fact that this is what we're talking about, and this is actually much more practical and much more value, much more accessible to a business to make this conversational interface that acts something like a conversation with a human. So we call it either virtual agents or agents, conversational agents, bots. conversational interface. So we're using the terminology conversational interface, meaning that there's some kind of engagement and communication back and forth with the systems, the system that your users are interacting with. Now, as we know from any of us who work in tech, this is obvious anyway, is that there's different kinds of interfaces to these services. There's the web page, mobile. Those both are conventions that we fully understand from having used them so long. A web page has certain conventions, such as navigation bar at the top, a logo in the upper left, a footer in the bottom, buttons on it. We know the conventions that are there, and that's the language or the system that is used in order to communicate with the user how to engage with the system. Mobile's sort of the same way, where you have a smaller screen and bright buttons and maybe a much more touchscreen oriented interface. A bot is a different kind of angle to get, access that service. A bot is much more like you're humanizing the interaction between yourself and the service, in the sense that you are putting a conversation in place there. And it's not so much navigating through a screen that's on your mobile device or your web page, but going through textual conversations. It could also include voice and other elements. But basically, it's like, hi, how are you? I need this. Okay, here's an answer. So there's this conversation going on with it, and there's many elements to how that conversation is engaged with and interacted with, in terms of personality, in terms of branding, in terms of what they call decorations in the conversation, like emojis and images and links and rich text formatting. So it can be a very rich conversation, but it is a fundamentally different interface than what you have when you take one of the other ways of interfacing with the cloud-based service. Web, mobile have their elements, their conventions, their uses, and bots have its conventions and its uses. And we're going to explore the bot world a bit in here. The cloud-based service up there could be anything. It could be an internal service, such as a SharePoint or a database or some kind of system you're running, or it could be external, like Salesforce or Zoom or something like that you're interacting with through the bot. Now, all those services, of course, have web interfaces or mobile interfaces, and most of them, or many of them, starting to introduce bot interfaces to the thing. So you can look at it as another way to engage with this service. It's not the service itself. The bot is not the service, just as the web page is not the service. They're just ways of engaging and encountering and communicating with that service to get the results you want out of it. So let's go here. So if we focus specifically on the bot service, and we have the web and the mobile, but now we're talking specifically about the bot. It works basically like this. There's a bot service of some kind. This is primarily, we use Azure here because that's in Microsoft Stack. But there are other ways to develop bots, and you could use Google's framework, or I think Amazon Web Service has one. But basically, there's a service that communicates with the cloud-based service and then interprets it through, gives it out to different channels. You see on the left is a web channel, on the right is a Teams channel. Channels are the way the bot provides the information into the messaging platform that the people are using. So it could be a web-based chat, it could be a Teams-based chat, it could be Slack, it could be Facebook Messenger. The bot service generally is agnostic towards what channel it produces it out. It outputs the the communication to, and how it inputs and outputs from that communication channel. It's just called it's secondary to the fact that the bot service working to interact with the cloud-based service. So you have like some service up there in the cloud, the bot service is communicating with it and then outputting through channels that you decide to the various chat-based messaging systems that will then present it to the user, and the user can interact with it. And that could be web chat, it could be Teams, it could be Slack, it could be many different ways of doing it. So this is like sort of a very high level architecture of the whole thing. And then you can get much more detailed if you really want to go to that level. You have different kinds of user input, text, speech, images on different devices, whether it's a desktop, a mobile, or maybe a Teams, whatever, desktop or mobile, I guess generally, through different channels. They should have Teams listed here in the middle channel. I don't know, that's a Microsoft picture. They don't have Teams listed, but they should have Teams listed here. And then there's all kinds of stuff that goes on inside the bots, the brain of the bot, you could say, with different kinds of services, and then it could interact with outside business processes like that. So this is like getting, this is not where we want to go to today in terms of describing bot architecture and bot, all the considerations of bot design and bot setup. we want to see it in action. So we'll go to that in a moment, get right into the demo, and we'll show you what bots can do inside of Teams. It'd be quite interesting. I just wanted to point out that you can incorporate bots with Azure cognitive services like natural language processing, the language understanding, the Lewis. These are all provided by Microsoft and their cognitive services, image recognition, predictive analysis, dialogue management. So you can start to take bots to a further and further degree depending on the needs of your organization. And that really comes down to what is the business value of a bot? You know, what is the purpose? Why are you going to use it? What is it going to do to produce efficiency and better operations and streamline automation at your organization? That's really the key. It's not just to have a bot for the fun of it. Those are consumer bots. You know, fun of it bots are like games, entertainment, brand. You see these sometimes on Facebook and things like that, and they're kind of fun. And what's the weather in Toledo or something like that, you know, or let's play a game, or, you know, just coming up with some funny quote. Well, those are consumer bots. We're not talking about that here. We're talking about business bots that provide real, true value. We've seen this happen. We know it can work. Getting the bot to work right is not necessarily like slam dunk right out of the box, but there is techniques and processes and design principles and architectural principles that make them work really well. And the whole bot platform is rapidly evolving. It's not like, you know, we get a lot of corny stuff and how a bot fails that you can see on the web that are kind of funny, but, you know, the use of bots in businesses is rapidly evolving, and a platform like Teams gives a very good way to make it available to end users in a very easily consumed way. So there's different kinds of bots, and this isn't just a comprehensive list by any means, but they generally focus on FAQ customer service kind of bots where, you know, there's a question and answer. I'll show you that with the Q&A maker. Alert notification bots where instead of getting an alert in email, you get an alert in your Teams channel or directly in Teams. So if you're working in Teams all day long, you have to check Outlook to see if there's a notification about process X was instituted or updated or whatever is going on. Business process automation bots are really where the key. There's some questions there. I hope someone's answering them. Anyway, the business process automation is where there's a key use of bots in terms of business. Business process automation is where, you know, the rubber meets the road, you could say, and where bots really show their value in managing workflows and processes. And, you know, it could be kind of simple or it could get kind of complex, but the real point is that at the end of the day, you're producing real value to the business, so it's well worth the investment. And then I'll see if there's chat, if there's anything I need to address here. Am I sharing my screen? Oh.
Yeah, we see your screen, and yeah, we're going to send slides afterwards, and yeah, so just a couple questions about, look like there's some audio issues, but I think we're.
Yeah, well, yeah, part of the audio issue is that, you know, everybody's working from home these days. We've seen this in other GoToWebinars, both ones we've put on and participated in, that, you know, internet is kind of, I guess, overloaded with everybody working from home and all that. So, you know, that's just unfortunate, something we have to put up, but hopefully the audio will be well recorded for the recording, and we'll make that available afterwards. And besides, this is all bot preliminary stuff. We'll get into the demos in a moment here. So let me just jump right into that. And let's see, is that the last slide I think we're going to suffer through here? Okay, is that it? Let's see. Let's go. Oh, I've got to the end already. So I'm going to get out of this and go over to the demo. Okay. So let's go here. And I'm going to show you our Teams bot. Okay, I've just switched from, you know, those PowerPoints into an actual bot that runs on in our system here. This is an HR bot. This is an HR bot. It's a demo. It's not like fully geared to Crocan's HR questions, but it's, you know, we put it together to show what's going on. So you have a bot saying hi bot, hi, how are you? And it returns something. I am missing a paycheck. That's a serious problem, right? And it's going back with some kind of answer. Please, employees need to contact their manager for assistance. If the manager is unable to assist the manager, blah, 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 whatever it says, it doesn't really matter. I want to add a depend, that's spelled that right, dependent to my insurance. Okay, here we go. So there you go. We're running inside of Teams, a bot that I'm chatting one-on-one conversation with right here. Once I contact the bot, you know, through getting it, you know, you could do a search like you do search for people up here. You could have it pinned to your contacts list if you wanted, and then you start communicating with it. and it starts giving back information. This is a Q&A maker FAQ bot that really is one of the standard implementations inside of Teams. It's very easy to, I'd have to say it is very easy to do. I mean, realistically, I'm not just saying that as a tech, geeky kind of guy. It's like, oh, it's so easy. It actually is. You can set it up in 20 minutes. It's one of those things with no coding. So the way it's done, and I'll show you behind the scenes so that we can, you can see what I'm talking about. This one uses Q&A Maker, a service from Microsoft Azure. All you need to do this is have an Azure subscription and know just the minimal about Azure. So what you do is you come here and you log in, sign in. If you have Office 365 account, you can usually sign right in. I signed in already to ours, and you see that there in Q&A Maker, there's a knowledge base. I created one already, Croquet HR FAQ. I could create another one if I wanted to. Once you create it and populate it, it gives you the ability to create a bot, and it will just go right through kind of cookbook stuff of create a bot, and then it opens up Azure. In Azure, you do a few things, decide what subscription and what area, this kind of thing, and then you have it available ready for implementation in the Teams world. It really is a 20-minute operation, and it's not that hard at all. I'm not going to go through it today because there's many videos and documentation on it up on the Microsoft site and also on YouTube. So here's all documentation here on Q&A Maker if you want to see documentation. I will show you how it works though. There is a knowledge base here that I created called the Croquet HR FAQ. This knowledge base, very easy to manipulate and modify and change. Here's the questions: what is family medical leave policy? Where can I find benefits information? These are questions that I put in. When it says editorial, it means that I put them in directly by going to add a Q&A pair. You can also, when you create it, you can install what they call chit chat, and this gives you a whole list of questions that somebody somewhere, I don't know if it's Microsoft somewhere, came up with all these questions and answers, and that can make it sort of a personality, you might say, of that bot. They're doing all that for you. I find that a little bit frivolous, a little bit extraneous to the business function of it, but I thought I'd point it out that it's there. Most of it comes from the editorial here, where you're going to set up, what the questions and answers are. Now, this question and answers can be imported from an existing FAQ, a semi-structured document, and that's explained in the documentation, that when you create a knowledge base, it will ask you, where do you want to get the information from? And you can pull it in from an existing file or even a URL that's out there that has a semi-structured or some kind of structured Q&A FAQ going already. Also, you can bring it in from spreadsheet. You can have a spreadsheet here. So if I want to go to settings and add more to this, I could go to settings. I could import, I could add a file. So right here, you can do stuff like just designate a URL. It will go out, and Q&A Maker will read that information at that site, kind of scrape the site and bring it into your question and answer pairs. It works pretty well, I'd have to say. You can also add a file in. If I want to add a new file in, I can go to my, under documents, I guess, or downloads, or documents, Q&A file maker. This spreadsheet, I can pull that into any one of those into here, and it will upload it. And now these question answers that are in that file will become part of my knowledge base. I have to save and train it to add it. And it's that simple. I mean, someone who you give, it doesn't even have to use Q&A Maker. You just give them a spreadsheet to fill out, and they'll be able to do it. Let me show you that spreadsheet so that we can see what I'm talking about as far as Q&A Maker here file looks like. So I just had a file like this. I just added all these questions to the database by setting them up with column A is the question and column B is the answer. It's that simple to bring them in. And then when I go look at my database again and edit it, there is a section here from the file I just added. It's not editorial because I didn't do it directly. It's this file here, Q&A Maker. What is sexual harassment policy? You just store that in the spreadsheet if you were, I know I did it pretty quickly, but it is in that spreadsheet, right? Well, here, take a look at it. It's right here. Here it is. Advances, payday, all that stuff from the spreadsheet has been incorporated into the database. So now if I ask a question about payday in my bot, I could say payday, and it's going to come back with the information. Oh, sorry, I got to publish it first. And it's always something. You got to publish it. You got to publish it so it's up on in the database. Okay, once it's published, it only takes a minute. and then you could go back to service. And by the way, a little aside here, that you can actually, once you create a new knowledge base, you just create a bot, and that's going to bring you into the Azure portal, and it's going to walk you through step by step to create it. But I already created the bot, so I don't need to do that. The bot exists right here. Now I go in and say payday, and it should here. Now it's giving me the answer I just put into the system right here. What's interesting is I actually tried this by mistake earlier today. If I did that, it came back with the same answer too. So it's obviously doing some kind of natural language processing already, even interpreting that misspelled word as a valid answer, a valid question. Now, if I want to go here and look at that again over in the database, right here, I go to the Q&A maker. I go here, find the payday, and I might want to add some alternative questions here, alternative phrasing. So I might say, when is payday? How much do I make? How much do I make? Come on, people, do I make? You can add any phrasing you want here. It's that easy to do that. And then you can keep going on and on with that. Again, save and train, and then publish it, and then it's immediately available to all your users on the team channel. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's really pretty simple, pretty easy, and you've got a database going that's already a Teams. Here you go, it's in Teams. So I said, how much do I make? I think that's what I put, right? So it's going to come back the same answer. Of course, you can refine this to make it realistic as you go along. I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there. The one other thing, and I'm going to buzz through this pretty quickly because Manish has a good demo to show too of a more sophisticated bot, and I don't want to delay that too long. But I do want to show something else you can do where it's called multi-turn. If I put in benefits, you'll see that it's not just returning an answer, it's also returning other options right here. This is called multi-turn. It means that what happens is in my database, I said you can put in this information and then link it to others. So then if I go to FMLA, it will show me the FMLA. If I put FMLA in directly, Family Medical Leave Act is what that is. It's going to give me back that information directly. But if I want to put a higher categorization on it and give it more of a hierarchical system, I can go here with the multi-turn and say, okay, you want benefits? Then here. And I could do that with the payday, paycheck questions, and then have payday advances, garnishments, reimbursements, all those other things that are subheadings of the payday. So you can do like pretty interesting stuff with the Q&A maker. And it's basically you have Q&A maker, then you have it running in Azure, and then it comes over to your Teams and you have it running in Teams there. Okay, I know I'm going a little quick here, and but there's a lot of information to do. It's hopefully I'm conveying it correctly, but let's go through it again so I can summarize. There's Q&A maker where you set up the database. You have a lot of options to modify that database and then put your own information in or whatever. Once you have that, it will then you then have an Azure bot service running that is developed, through very easily. Once you do the Q&A maker, it creates the bot. You have to answer a few questions, creates the bot, and then the bot service is given a channel to go to Teams. So now what I went over to the Azure bot service where I have the HR bot running, and I say, look at channels. So if you come into channels here, this is the bot services of Azure right here. I have this one called HR bot, CodeCanyon bot. There's many things here, overdue activity. This is all the bot parameters inside of Azure. But what you have is channels. So what I did earlier is made it so that I connected to the channel of Microsoft Teams. It comes by default with the web chat in there, but the Microsoft Teams channel is here. You can also go to other channels. Look at these other: Kik, Telegram, email, Twilio, Facebook, Skype, Slack, blah, 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 blah. So you can go all these other channels if you want it. And each channel, of course, has its own parameters. Each channel will display the information slightly different according to the parameters and setup of that channel itself. They're all pretty similar, but they do have some little differences in how maybe they handle an image or certain aspects of it. But our focus here is on team bots, and we're not going to go into the other channels at all. And then once you have it connected to a channel, you go over to Teams, and it's over Teams right here, and you have an apps, and in here is an app studio, and in the app studio is where you create the manifest that then puts it into the Teams channel. So once you have this, once you have your bot created inside of Q&A Maker in Azure, you come here to App Studio in Teams, and then you could upload it into, create a new app and upload that app, that bot really. Bot is kind of an app, it's a Teams app, upload it into your Teams tenant catalog, then it's available to everybody to use. It becomes like another person that they can talk to in it. It's, I go through the details of this one-on-one. If I got into it in this webinar, I would get really, more focused on those specifics and not on the functionality I want to show you here. So now the HR bot is here. HR bot, HR studio. Okay, so now we go here, back to chat. Let's go back to chat and go to our HR bot chat right here. And get all kinds of interesting things we can do with it. This is a one-on-one chat. So if I wanted to find it up here, HR bot, it's going to find it right there. Just like you search for a person. Hey, I want to chat with you, bot. So you come here, you say, hey, okay, we got a conversation going. And you can call it something else. You call it Amy or Andrew or Sally or whatever. Give it a personal name if you want. You can have a lot of fun with how you name it and how you want to give it personality to your team's members, depending on your organization. Or just call it HR bot to give it kind of a generic mechanical kind of name. It's got this manifest that's generated in App Studio and different icons and different information right here. That's part of the app manifest when you did it in that App Studio I just showed you in Teams. And then it appears and begins a one-on-one conversation. Well, one-on-one conversations are not the only way to engage with somebody in Teams. One-on-one conversations are good for bots. You ask a question, it gives an answer. You ask a question, it gives an answer. You can also activate it inside a team, have the bot running in a team. In that case, I have it running, and I think this one right here, I can go just here and say at bot. Let me get that out of there, show you how that works. You do at HR bot, it's going to find it, and say what are the benefits that this plays, and it should reply with the benefits right here. See, the same thing you were seeing in the one-on-one chat, right? So now in the team channel, the channel in the team, I am activating, communicating with the bot. Of course, everyone in the team sees it, and it has a different purpose than a one-on-one conversation, but the team may want to ask a bot a question. It may say, what's the status of account X? What's the support? When does the support contract for so-and-so to expire? It's really good in like a sales situation where you're in the team and you're asking the bot questions and it's giving you back answers. Okay, so that's I could go way more into this whole thing with Teams bots and how it all works, and hopefully this gives you a sense that in Teams itself, using a simple Q&A maker in the Azure bot service, you can develop a pretty well-used FAQ system that's going to answer simple questions and provide functionality to your users and make it really a cool implementation here that can go as far as you want, as far as what information is presented, what information is presented, and how you provide it. And now here's a couple things I'll do, and then I'll get Manisha involved. A couple things I want to say. One is this: the bot runs 24/7. The bot runs 24/7, and it has no, it doesn't sleep. Anytime at night, a person has a question, middle of Saturday night or something, they want to ask what their benefits or payday or anything like that are, they can ask those questions, or whatever it is. It could be HR bot, it could be a support bot or anything like that. No sleeping. And the other thing about a bot is it learns as it goes. So as you use the bot, it's going to get more and more better at answering the questions and the problems there. And it's going to improve over time. Whereas if you have an employee doing it, an employee leaves or has to go on vacation or something like that, well, say they leave the company, all that knowledge walks out with them. With a bot, it's only get better and better and better the more you use it, and that information stays in the company no matter who is there in the company. So the economic argument for bots, it's an article we wrote on our blog, it's huge. It's just huge, and it's really something that has a very, very compelling case to be made that the use of bots is of great value, and I'm so glad you guys are joining this webinar to find out more about it and take the steps towards into the bot world. Now, the next thing I want to do is transfer it over to Manish and give him ability to get going. See, Manish, he's gonna run through a support bot that we put together that works with our help desk system as an example of what can be done. So Manish, I'm going to send you over presenter, and then when you're ready, share your screen, and you go forward and take it from here, okay?
Sure, Scott.
Okay, I just made you presenter.
Let me.
Yeah, just share your screen, and we should be.
While we're going through that, we had a question about if once we get the bot deployed, could we restrict it to just a specific team?
Yes, I think you can answer yes.
Okay, we'll look into that and get back to the individual with more information.
No, yes, you can. Absolutely. Right here. Let me go share my screen again and show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll get to Manish on that. I'm in Teams Administration in Office 365, right? You're seeing this, right, James?
Right. Yes, I am.
Okay, I guess everybody else is too. So right here in your apps, you can manage apps and create permission policies that will say who has rights to which apps. Bots being one of the apps, of course. So you can set here what users.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not seeing the screen. I apologize. I thought I was seeing that.
I think it's my screen that's on here.
Oh, I gotta make myself presenter again. Oh, yeah. Let's go to meeting. Make presenter. Here we go. So here we go. Back now. Sorry, guys. We just a little switch of who's presenter. I'll send you back in a minute. That question raised the problem. I was going to talk about this Microsoft Teams Admin Center, and this is an important point that the question, whoever questioned it, was a good question that James just presented, is that in the Teams apps section here of the Microsoft Teams administration inside of Office 365, you're going to have ability to manage apps and create permission policies that will decide who gets rights to which app at what level, et cetera, et cetera. You can go with the default global, organization-wide policies, or you can set up policies individually by users, whether in the users themselves or in the apps. And in this here, there's a lot of documentation on Microsoft about it, but you can create like your own, like add a new policy that restricts it to only certain users. Yes, definitely you can do that. All right, good. So I'm gonna switch to Manish now and then make him presenter, and we'll take it from there. Okay. There you go, Manish. You are now presenter again.
Hi, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
I am Manish Jain, and I work as a senior developer in Canon AI and bots area. And today I'll be walking you the efforts we have made in this area and walk through the bots that we have made available to our customers and how they work inside Microsoft 365 and primarily Teams. Teams as the integration channel. So as Scott just talked about, the various kind of bots. Q&A Maker is the one where Scott just went into detail. He showed how to build a Q&A Maker bot, which is typical example of a conversation bot with some level of built-in AI. And so Q&A Maker, if you want to classify, is basically kind of a conversation / AI bot. Then there are other kind of bots which are called command bots, which are typical business process oriented bots. And then there are notification bots, where one of the examples Scott was talking about, like I am working, and like you receive email in your Outlook, you can receive a notification inside your bot. And I will show you how this happens. So these are typical type of bots that you will encounter and are broadly used in the industry for various kind of business process automation. So today, what I'm gonna talk about is our IT help desk bots. So as part of the Canon IT help desk solution application that we offer to our customers, we have got two bots over there. One is for our end users, and I'll talk about the second bot, which is for the staff and technicians who basically work on these tickets which the end user creates. So in order to just explain what this end user support bot is, it is basically a bot for all the employees. So in a very typical organization, there is an IT department which caters to needs and works with all the employees to resolve their issues, be it hardware issues or software issues or any kind of IT issues, be it networking or anything. They help all the employees resolving their issues. And they typically use some IT help desk application, and Canon provide one such application, IT help desk. And this is the bot that all the end users, all employees gets, and that's how they can interact with the IT help desk, right? So this is primarily for all the end users and employees. This integrate with the Teams and web channel both. So the interface of accessing this bot can be right inside the team, which I'll giving a demo, or even through the web. The intent of the one of the basic questions, what is why to use a bot, right? So I will just show you typically, apart from apart from this bot, we also have a help desk portal for our end users or typical employees. And this is what you're seeing is the interface. Now, as an end user, when I come over here as employee, when I have a problem, I see there are many things that I can do. I can submit a ticket. I can go and search in knowledge bases. I can go and look for a service catalog that may help me. There's nothing concrete. This kind of interface tells you what to do. Whereas bots provide very guided experience to the end user. Bots give an intent to resolve the issues. So as we'll drill into the support bot, it gives you a very guided experience. It uses artificial intelligence and natural language processing. It also provides deeper analytics to the IT helpdesk staff and managers, which helps them to learn like how the users are using the system, what kind of areas are hot, which kind of areas users are able to resolve their issues on their own, and where they create tickets. So it gives insight into the user behaviors. So you basically get learning based improvements. Now I will give a demonstration of our end user bot. All right, so this is a typical support bot for end users that we have. And when somebody user comes in, they have this support bot in the teams, and it starts like, as I have a problem, it asks you, please describe the problem. So as you can see, there are no two things the end user does over here. They come, they have a problem, they come to the support bot, and it just asks, please describe your problem, and say, I have, for example, network issues. So I just type in what my problem is, and now there's a bot service running behind which gets this. It basically uses the AI and the NLP. So while it gets back to me, okay, so as I type in something, so this bot caters to two different applications, right? So it asks me which kind of application you have and where you need the support with. So I say, okay, I need help in the IT premium demo. So this is one of the application, and then ask me, please describe your problem. I have network issues. I type in my problem. In the background, what the bot does is it uses natural language processing, basically a language translation service from Azure, which picks up the keywords from what I type in. Most of the time users type in their natural language. You are not gonna type in exactly like network issues. People will write the full sentences. It goes, parses, gets the right keyword out of it using the language translation service, and then the bot goes, searches the entire knowledge base with those keywords. If it finds the result, well and good. Then it can also go, depending on the logic inbuilt, it can also go to the tickets, issues which have come in the past filed by other users, and it will search, was there any similar ticket created in the past, and if yes, then it will see how that ticket was resolved and will provide the corresponding knowledge base articles to the user. So here the intent is try to help the user with some of the knowledge bases that they can use to resolve their issue on their own before they go ahead and even chat with the staff or they create a ticket. Self-help is the key goal using the bot for the end users. So I can see, okay, I see, okay, it suggests me look for these KB articles like setting up a wireless router or how to reset your password. So it gives me bunch of suggestions based on what my problem is. At this point, I can go, I can click on one of the articles it gives me, and I can try to follow the article. My problem may be resolved or my problem may not be resolved using this article. And based on that, there are certain, then it gives me further more choices. I can say my issue is resolved, well and good, it will say goodbye. Or it may, like you may say I want to try something else. You may try to do different search. You may say I want to start over, or you say, you like, after you have exhausted your search and you have not been able to resolve a problem, you can just say I want to submit a ticket. For example, I just clicked on I want to submit a ticket. So at this point, bot will ask me, what kind of issue I am facing. It's like I can find server, drive mapping, forgot password, email issue, login problem. It gives me all, or it's a router problem. So I say, oh, it's actually a router problem. My networking, because I looks like my router is not working fine, right? So it takes that input, and now it says, please wait, creating ticket. So if you see, the entire experience of an end user through the bot is so simplified. It's completely guided. It's not randomized. So I know, okay, now I've got a ticket. Ticket has been created for me. Somebody's gonna contact me from the help desk, and this is linked to my ticket, right? So this was pretty much the end user bot that I showed you. Very simple, streamlined, and a guided experience. The second bot that we have in the IT help desk is for the staff. So this is a staff bot. So like end users, all the employees use bot to interact with the help desk. The staff technicians who actually work on these tickets, help resolve these tickets, they also use a bot which is dedicated for them. It also provides a complete integration with Teams and the web channel. With this Teams bot, the staff gets an end-to-end experience within the teams. As we know, like more and more people, be it technicians, people who are working, they are spending more times in the teams. We are providing with this bot the end-to-end experience within the teams. With this, the staff can manage their tickets within the teams. They can work with the employees who have an issue within the teams using the teams chat. They can have web sharing, they can have team sharing with the end user, resolve their issues. So they can do everything within the teams. They don't need to go out into another software to do anything, and I'm going to demonstrate how. So this bot, it works as a command bot. So command bot are typically where like you can issue a command, give me this data, all right, okay, or give me details of this ticket. For example, the staff bot, you can say view tickets assigned to me. So it will give you the list of tickets which are assigned to you. So you can decide to work on any ticket you want, or it can, or you can ask this bot to, okay, give me all the tickets which are not yet assigned to anyone. So I have now, I'm done with my tickets, I want to pick up the next one, right? Or I can search ticket based on any keyword, or I can search KB articles, the knowledge-based articles using and the search is powered by the natural language processing over here. So this staff bot works as a command bot. It also can do actions like you can, as I was saying, you can do, the staff can do everything from within the teams. They don't need to go to the actual backend of the help desk system. They can add note to a ticket from here. They can reassign the ticket to some other staff. They can pick up any unassigned ticket. They can close the ticket. This bot also works as a notification bot. Notification bot in the sense, if, for example, a ticket is assigned to me, I will receive, excuse me, I will receive a notification inside the teams in my bot that a ticket has been assigned to me, and I can start working on that ticket right inside the teams from using the bot, right? Or if a ticket is updated by somebody, like the customer raised the priority of the ticket, or the customer or the end user has added more details, right? I will get a notification inside teams that this ticket has been is this ticket assigned to you and has been updated, so I can act upon it. So these are some of the capabilities of the staff bot. Now let me go to, so this is my staff bot, right? So as you can see, this is a command bot, and what can I do? Like, this is the list of commands. So you can, if there are multiple applications that you work on, you can select application and say, like, I can say view unassigned request, view my assigned request. I want to search, I want to create any request. I can do pretty much anything and everything from within the teams, right?
And
If I
Manish,
type,
Manish, you could add different ones to that command bar if we wanted. I mean, right? That's
absolutely.
that's not just set in stone in by any means. That's something that can be configured to do other functionality, right?
Yes, new commands can be added as per the requirements. So I type help. I say like help me with what the bot can do, and hopefully it return me what all I can do. I think it's getting warm.
Yeah, I don't know what it's doing there, but there's difference between cards and commands and that kind of thing. Here it
Okay,
is.
okay, yeah, it's coming back, I think. Yeah, so it tells me, okay, hey, I'm here to manage the service area, and these are the things I can do as a as a technician working in the IT help desk department. I can say like first thing in the morning I come here and I say view my assigned request. I want to just view what are the requests which are assigned to me so that I can start working on. And the bot will return me, okay, boss, these are the tickets which are assigned to you. And so I can say at a time it gives me 5 tickets. It has a pagination, so I can click on the view more items and it will show me more tickets. If I want to go into details of any ticket, I can do right inside my bot. I can just click on a ticket. I just click on ticket number 125 and I get to see the details of this ticket.
Now,
Now I
Manish,
can do
could you do a search and find a ticket? Like say you just know ticket
absolutely.
number 125 or whatever and just do a search somehow for it?
Why not? Let's try that out. So I say search request, and in the search key, I will type 125. Let's see if it can search. Could
So it
not
makes
find
it,
any matching.
it might, I don't know.
Ticket one. Let me search
Yeah, you
the
probably
search.
can determine what the search domain is or something like that, right? You know, whether you can go by user or the requester or the subject or something like that, right?
So I'm searching now with the subject. Oh, sorry. I think I did search KB. Therefore, okay. I need to.
Oh, you're searching the
I need
KB,
to do.
right?
Yeah, I need to search request, and
There you go. Now
I
put
will type
125.
ticket one. Ticket one was the title.
Yep.
So
Comes back with ticket one, right?
okay, so there are many tickets which matches this criteria. So it gives me all the tickets.
Right.
So
Good.
new ticket one. And as I said, I can click on a ticket and I'll get the details of that particular ticket.
Like a little
I get the
card
details.
with actionable buttons below it, right?
Yes. So I can I can add a note like for example, and I can click here to view the request in the backend system. So which is the IT helpdesk system. I can click here. It will open this request in the backend, or I can write just add a note from here itself.
Uh-huh.
Right. So I
So
can
yeah,
say
so the notes should be added to the back end system then.
absolutely new notes from demo, and I say okay.
Right.
And this is ticket number 224
And then if you go
in
to
the
the back
new
end
ticket
system,
one.
which is
Yeah,
SharePoint based, you know,
which
it's
is
where
SharePoint.
like we said in earlier about the cloud service. Well, in this case, it happens to be a SharePoint service, you know, that's our help desk,
Right.
you know, Crocanyon's help desk, or your help desk if you have the Crocanyon help desk, or some other SharePoint list. Really, it doesn't even have to be our
Or
program necessarily.
it doesn't need to be SharePoint even if you have an existing system and you want a bot that integrates with your system, that can be done. Right.
It's
So
really showing that
I
in
can
Teams you can do all this functionality of that's way beyond what the FAQ Q&A Maker does. Q&A Maker is really just about simple FAQ ping-ponging back and forth. This one is about really incorporating true functionality that integrates fully with the back-end system. This is the business process automation type bot we're talking about here, right?
exactly. So I can assign from here. I can assign this ticket like it gives me, it shows me all the staff. So this data is coming from the staff group in SharePoint. So I can assign it to say James, who is one of the staff, and say okay, and the ticket will be assigned to James. So why? Okay, so now the ticket has been successfully assigned to James. So another thing I just would like to show, for example, which is very important from a staff perspective, so I'm done with my tickets, and at this point, I want to see what tickets which are not yet assigned to anyone. So I can say view unassigned tickets. I can issue that command, and it shows me, okay, these are the 5 tickets which are not assigned. Using which I can go and pick up any unassigned ticket. So I click on the pickup.
You're assigned it to yourself, basically.
Yes, and the ticket will be assigned to me. So you can say self-assigned successfully. So these are all the stuff, these are all the commands, actions that you can do in your backend ticketing system using the Teams interface, the bots in Teams.
Well,
Right.
just to add an addendum to that, Manish, this could work for sales. Like say you had a new lead coming in and it says, okay, what are the new leads, and no reps picked it up yet. Or maybe you want to converse about a particular lead and you say, hey, I know that guy, he used to work at so-and-so company, or I met him at this show or something like that. So you can sort of have a sales conversation about it, or it could be about a group wants to purchase something, or we need a new this, or, I mean, many things could interact with any kind of back-end system, whether it's CRM or support desk or purchasing, right?
Absolutely, Scott. So I think you are making a very good point. The whole workflow, what you want to do, what you want to empower the bot. So basically, you are giving the power to bot to do things for the users who are interacting with the bot, and it's a choice you make. What you want the bot to do. Like here for our IT help desk, we have added these actions because they make sense in this world. But if for example, if there's a sales application, absolutely all things that Scott you are talking about, they make sense in that area. So yes, the bot over there will behave differently as per the requirement over the users there.
That's right.
Right. So I just showed you how these commands can be done. Now there are a bunch of other things like as I said, like it's a notification bot as well. So for example, I can, let me just quickly show if there are tickets which are not assigned, right, and somebody assigns. So for example, if the ticket is updated outside the system, right, and something changes in the ticket, or the ticket is assigned to you, you can very well just go and you will get a notification inside the Teams. Here, let me show you the example.
Right. The idea is that you can be in some external system, whether it's SharePoint or something else, and that notification can alert you inside of Teams channel that you designate that you want to be alerted. So it's, when I see it as kind of a substitute or an enhancement to email, because you get a notification normally in your email, right? So instead of getting it in your email, you get it in your Teams channel, and now you're able to say, oh, something just happened, a new ticket was created, a new lead came in, my purchase was approved, or something like that, right?
Right.
And then you can work from that channel you're in, the chat that you got, and even assign it to yourself, or add a note, or approve the purchase, or whatever. I mean, this is where Teams becomes a very interactive interface to
Absolutely.
the backend
For
system.
example, yeah. So this is a request which you can see is not assigned. And for example, I go over there and I will assign this request to myself, and I will get a notification in my Teams.
Yeah, that you got a new ticket assigned to you, right?
Yes. So
you got to edit. Go to edit.
I do self. Yeah.
Oh,
So
self-assign.
you can
That's
see
right.
I can.
Yeah.
So that's a custom action, self-assign. I just go and do a self-assignment for the ticket number. I think the ticket number was 227. I think this is complete. 227 is done. And if I'll go to my bot now, earlier I should have got the notification.
Yes. Yes, I'm answering some questions meanwhile for you.
Yeah. So while it comes up, so this is a notification bot. So anything that happens in the external system, and I want to get a notification inside my bot, the bot can be configured to do so.
That's right. So, the question
Right,
here is, what is Crow Canyon really, what's our play in this whole thing? And I think we can clearly see that, we're providing bot capabilities, bot programming services, whether you're integrating that application with Teams. So we call that our bot discovery service. Bot discovery service means that we'll work with you to your organization, you and your team and your organization, to help design and implement a successful bot and also maintain it going forward, so that it gets continuously improved as it's put to use. There's a lot of factors, as I said earlier, about bots, and the discovery service will be a chance for us to have that communication as what you want to do, what's the purpose of it, how best we can deploy it. Is it something, primarily we assume it's going to run in Teams, but it doesn't have to. Teams use an Azure bot service and connect into the back end. And then what kind of workflows? Manish is showing some great notification capabilities, the ability to update an item in the back, to really you're doing a lot of your work, at least a good majority of your work right through the interface there inside of Teams. And the bot I was showing you, the FAQ, the Q&A maker bot, it could possibly answer a lot of questions right off the bat before they even put in a request or something like that. And the support bot is kind of an extension of the FAQ. And the person first starts asking a question. They come to help desk not because they want to submit a ticket, because they want to get their question answered. That's the primary thing we're considering here. And the parameter shift, the paradigm shift here of what we're doing with Teams is that, the fundamental realization is the person did not come there to submit a ticket per se. They
have a problem.
They have a problem.
They
want a
issue.
solution, right? Isn't that right?
Right.
So if we can provide them a solution through the first initial interface and the conversational interface of the bot, then we're saving a lot of staff time for you, for your team. The bot is really saving a lot of staff once it's set up properly for your team. Then if it does get to the point where it is created as a ticket and needs to go through a certain prescribed process, there will be mechanisms inside the team bot in order to facilitate that. And really we're looking for an easy, conversational, pleasant way to facilitate the interaction with the back-end service. But having a bot can have a personality, a bot can have branding, a bot can have, some level of, I don't call it humanistic, humanizing to the interaction. It could be very mechanical, like hi, bye, or it can be like, hey, how you doing today? What can I help you with? Oh, sorry to hear you have a problem. Put this emotion and personality into the bot to make it more palatable for people to be using it, and more engaging for people to be using it. So there's many places this bot service can go. And I think there's huge promise in this and huge capabilities. And, I hope somebody would, it's like, what I mean by hope is that getting people to change their way of doing things and adopt a system that is fundamentally better and more cost effective and more streamlined and more pleasant, really, and more humanized, is something that unfortunately takes a bit of an uphill, it's so obvious to people who work in it, but once to get that into your organization takes some time. So the way to do it is maybe start with the Q&A maker, or talk to us about a simple bot, a bot discovery, and then introduce it slowly. And once you get it in your organization, then people will start to say, hey, this is pretty cool, let's do more of this. And you can start to really see the value of a bot type implementation inside your company. And that's the kind of thing we'll do. We have the bot discovery service, we have the custom building of bots. We also have what Misha is showing you about our applications that have been integrated with Teams and bots infused, bot infused applications, you might say. The applications have bot capabilities, and what Manish is showing you, or was showing you, is one particular implementation in our support help desk. We have a number of applications where we include the bot capabilities, and it's growing more and more. And we'd love to work with you and your organization to find out what your needs are and how we can take this bot, take this bot journey together, I guess you could say, to make it happen, and learn from each other as to what is the best way to implement this really really new technology in a lot of ways. I mean, messaging has been around a while, but to implement it in a bot type framework in a business setting is still in the beginning stages. And we're all learning and evolving and improving what we can do with bots. So I think it's a real good step forward, and hopefully we'll have more webinars on bots. We'll do some blogs. It's an exciting field. Now, James, any questions that we can pop in here?
Yeah, we had a couple of questions pop in. We want to get them answered quickly if we can. One question was, could a bot launch a Python script using information provided as a parameter?
Yes.
So
Why
then it'd
not?
be kind of along the lines of a command bot.
Yeah. Manish, you could jump in as a dev person on that one, but I think you know, if you have a URL, you can launch your parameters in that URL to launch a script, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you want to be cautious with what you will launch, of course, right? But it could.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
And then yeah, so that's great. And then another question we had was something about assignment where we can block these once it's assigned. Let me just read the question. If a ticket is assigned, can anyone reassign that ticket, or can this be set up where only the current owner or supervisor can reassign? So I think that's through the bot interface itself.
Well, isn't that a restriction
So,
of our backend system more than the bot itself, right?
yes. And the other thing is, so there's a specific implementation where we have done where like that's a staff. Only staffs can reassign. So that's a staff bot. Staffs can reassign at this point. We do allow. But if you in your organization, if you want to restrict that only supervisor can reassign, staff cannot reassign a ticket to another staff, that can be easily done.
Right. And
It's
we can
just
also
how you implement.
with the Teams Admin Center, restrict a particular app to only a particular group of people, or even a particular person for that matter, so that only some people get that staff bot versus everybody getting the end user bot, as an example of a bot type permissioning situation. You know?
Right. And one other thing, like the whole assign action on the card that you saw in the Teams bot, that action may not be available to staff. Staff can only pick up a ticket that's self-assigned. That's all. They can't reassign. So it's just how you want to configure.
That's right. That's right. So
limited just that one action.
let me show our slide that, you know, people want to engage with us further. Let me get that up and see what we can do. You know, talk about that. I'm going to.
You gotta make yourself presenter.
Yeah, I'm getting the PowerPoint ready first here, James. So let's see, spot presenter.
Okay, sure.
So it takes like a second to do that. Where am I? Show my screen, I guess, or I gotta make myself presenter. Yeah, here we go. Hold on a second. Make presenter. Again, we apologize for the audio issues that might have come up because, you know, internet's kind of, you know, I don't know, acting at max capacity, it seems these days. So we offer these things. You can see on our page, this is a list here. Rather than read this list, you can go to these sites here. We have a bunch of blog articles on the bots, you know, economic argument. Oh man, it says show my screen.
App permission policies page is what I see. I don't know. Is there a latency
Yeah, I'm
issue?
seeing the updated screen.
You
I'm
are?
seeing the
Okay.
updated screen.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so to learn more, go to blog articles or the AI and services page. This is right on our website. You know, it's nothing. It's nothing hidden at all. It's right here. If you go to crowcanyon.com, you're going to see under services, AI and chatbot services. You know, we got our cool little chatbot guy going. It's a very friendly chatbot. In fact, we call these crowbots. Crow Canyon Systems, you know, crowbots. Anyway, it's our crowbots, and we have doing all these different things we can do. We can do chatbots and all the services we offer. We do natural language processing, using Azure Cognitive Services. One cool thing is email sentiment analysis, where someone sends an email in and we can interpret it as to whether they're frustrated, angry, or just, you know, bamboozled. That's a part of our system too. It's pretty cool. Data optimization. If you have data you want to put into the Q&A maker or some other database, we can do that. Q&A maker stuff, which I just showed you earlier, and there's a bunch of resources down here about things. So big into the bot world. Back to the slideshow. Let's go to the contact info, and there it is. Sales at, you know, obviously sales at crowcanyon.com is a very good one. Follow us on Twitter. And we used to say, see us at the shows, but we don't say that anymore, do we, James? Not for a while.
Right.
No. See us on the virtual webinar. We do have the webinars coming up too. We have a number of webinars that focus on our programs. If you go into resources, no, up here, it's actually webinars. You can see that we have some upcoming webinars in the month, and we're going to do some others in May. We're lining up some May ones. We also had a whole section on Teams itself. We did a webinar with a summit with 3 leading MVPs. We have the recordings of those available. We did that on, March 26th. So we have with Joel Olson, Gokhan, and Mike Madarani. We have these vision and strategies, become a Teams Rockstar, private channels, and a lot of questions that were answered from that, as well as the recording. So, you know, a lot of information here about Teams, as well as other Teams webinars we've done. So we're big into Teams, we're big into bots, as well as the SharePoint and Office 365 world building applications, and also our Nitro Studio, which I won't even address on right now, but a great application creation platform for that. We've gone over the hour. I don't know if we pretty much pack it up, so we take respect for people's time here, and appreciate everyone attending. And Manish, thank you very much for your input. That was great. James for doing questions, and everyone for attending. Stay safe. Stay stay safe, and keep in touch with us about what's coming up next in our series of webinars on the different subjects related to Microsoft Office 365, SharePoint, and Teams. Thank you very much. Okay, have a good day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.